TFL EV is brought to you by Flow Charger, maker of reliable, high-quality charging stations for your electric vehicle.
Dude, there's something interesting happening on the used car market, and it has in a large part to do with Tesla.
So are their prices going through the roof again?
No, dude, it's the opposite. They're going down, especially on the used market. So recently, you probably have seen stories on our websites and other channels saying that the new electric car pricing are going down.
A little bit, yeah.
But now the used market is following suit, dude.
Now this information that we're generating here comes from our friends at IC Cars, right?
Yeah.
And what we have here looks, wait, is that right?
Yes. So take a look at this. So 4 vehicles that Tesla is currently selling, the Model 3, Model S, Model X, and Model Y, they're down significantly in the month of January, just very recently. And the pricing is dropping anywhere from 4% to 5%.
Yeah, so it's averaging out at 4.8%. That is considerable if you think about the fact this is a premium electric vehicle that has been leading the market, and their sales are usually through the roof. That also, well, okay, how do we compare this then to what the current market is for other vehicles?
Well, yes, so IC Cars compiled some information here, and we can go into more detail. So something quite peculiar is happening, Nathan, because, look, gasoline vehicles are on the second line.
Yeah.
And for used market in January, it's only down about 1.5%.
Okay, so Tesla is way more than that.
Like
right
3
now.
times, yes.
Right.
Yes. So it looks to me that used car purchasers right now, or at least last month, are preferring gasoline vehicles and valuing those gasoline vehicles more, specifically than Tesla. But we can also talk about hybrids, which is 2.6%, and plug-in hybrids here.
Which is pretty significant on the plug-in hybrids as well.
Yeah.
3.8% is noticeable. So, okay, and then alternative fuel vehicles, whatever.
Not very many of them.
Yeah, not a whole lot. So Tesla's been leading the charge when it comes to production, when it comes to the high value vehicles, and the market seems to kind of follow them a little bit, at least over the past couple years, I'd say. So can we say that this could be an indication of where overall used cars are going to a certain degree?
Potentially, I would say so. So let's dig a little deeper and then go to like the top 5, right?
Okay.
What's the most affordable now? Because you could flip it both ways, right?
Right.
So electric cars are now becoming cheaper. So maybe it's a great time to buy an electric vehicle if you want one.
That's kind of where my head is going,
Yeah.
especially with Tesla products, which tend to hold their value fairly well. So what are we looking at here? This looks like a new one.
Yeah, so I am on Tesla.com right now, so kind of picking out a brand new Tesla Model Y, and long range is starting at $54,990, and a performance model of Model Y starts at $57,990. But recently, this year in 2023, of course, there's new legislation, right?
Right.
About tax credits and incentives for electric cars and how they're classified and all this
Right.
stuff. And Tesla has been lowering their brand new vehicle pricing to kind of match what the latest legislation is doing.
So that way people can be eligible for those once again with Tesla.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of natural that the used car market is following what's happening on a brand new market for Tesla and how that's going.
That's interesting. So I think we can say that, and we've actually put out some articles on TFL Car, and it's important for you guys to know that the used car market has leveled off and has finally started to come back down to earth. But it's still nowhere near where it was pre-COVID, which is going to take some time.
Yeah,
and,
huge difference.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. But there's something interesting. There's been a lot of buzz about Tesla recently, and part of that has to do with, and this is slightly off topic, with the Cybertruck. We've been hearing a lot of stuff about that because there was recently a newly released video, or a re-released video, I should say, where it's showing a Tesla Cybertruck with mirrors, windshield wipers, basically closer to, there we go, what is considered a legal vehicle for the U.S. market, but also with four-wheel steering.
Let's tease this for a second.
Yeah, because there's some stuff going on.
Yeah, so before we finish up with the Cybertruck, I wanted to point out, so right now, if you were looking in the used market, and if you love Tesla brand,
Yeah.
and by the way, Tesla hasn't updated their vehicles like visually in a long time.
No, but there's been an announcement that they are going to be doing some updates.
The Model 3 should be something you're looking at, because look, 42,633 was an average price for a used Model 3.
Right.
It's become very, very close to 40K, which is quite affordable for a car that's not very old, right? 2 or 3 year old, potentially a used vehicle.
Yeah, also considering the price bracket that it normally inhabits, that is pretty good.
Of course, if you if you have a bigger family, Model X maybe up your sleeve. The Model X didn't lose as much. It lost 3.9%, but still the price is coming down.
Well, I think the Model X is still one of their biggest sellers. It definitely is, a bigger seller than the Model S.
Yeah, Model S is long in the tooth. I mean, the Plaid is there, of course, and the Model X Plaid model, of course, is there. But those are, kind of six-figure cars.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing some updates with the exterior design and some interior stuff in the very near future. They did sort of announce that, although now that they don't have a PR department, and they haven't had PR in years, it seems, we just don't have the exact information on that because we can't find it. So it's just based on rumors and hearsay.
Then, if you're in the market for a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid, this could be your time, right? Right about now, because look, plug-in hybrids are expensive because they have both the gasoline engine, right, and of course batteries and electric motors, so they tend to be a little bit more expensive than others. But now the used pricing is coming down significantly.
Yeah, 3.8% is noticeable, and some of those vehicles out there that were way overpriced when new, and I have a specific example, the Toyota RAV4 Prime.
Yes.
That thing was priced $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 over its actual price.
Well, it was so popular, right? Everybody wanted one because
Exactly.
RAV4 is already one of the more popular vehicles Toyota sells. And the Prime was kind of really desirable, right?
Well, it was a high-powered vehicle that
Yes.
had good range.
And also efficient.
Exactly. So now it's possible. I'm not saying that specifically with the Prime, but look at the Primes and see what their used prices are. I have a feeling they're coming down as well.
And we recently tested the plug-in Mitsubishi Outlander.
Yeah.
Right, so that's also a fairly affordable vehicle. That's also a plug-in.
Yeah, but that's the one we drove was the brand new model.
Yes.
And that brand new model was, by the way, fabulous. And I think we have a video on TFL now.
Yep.
Yep.
Or EV. Yeah.
It might be on the
well,
EV.
check out otfl.com because you can see everything, all brand new information right there in one place. But I have to say this, Nathan, still before we finish with Cybertruck, that the gasoline vehicle is still more affordable.
Yeah.
So we haven't reached parity yet, right?
No, I think it's going to be a couple of years before we do.
Yeah, several more years probably. Because, if you're looking for something super affordable, a gasoline vehicle will still beat on price versus an electric vehicle.
Unless you're willing to go to a lower markets end, right? So here's a really good example.
Yeah.
Tommy's Chevy Bolt.
Yes.
Has a very affordable little electric.
Which was purchased brand new by us, by TFL. And after the incentives, it was what, $18,000, maybe a little bit less, brand new.
But even without the incentives, it's like $26,000, which I'm not saying that's chumps change, but it's relatively inexpensive.
And lower than this.
When you look at this.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the least expensive EVs in America, and actually has pretty decent range.
So I think it's really up to your use case, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you live in more rural areas where there's not a lot of charging infrastructure and you have to drive long distances, maybe, used car prices, maybe a gasoline vehicle is better for you.
Or a plug-in.
But if you have a home, especially with home charging, going with a plug-in or electric is a really good choice.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's quickly wrap this up by talking about the Tesla Cybertruck, because there is you are the truck dude, and we did cover this a while ago about the possibility of four-wheel steering, but there was a new video that came out that had, you guys can easily find it, it's out there on YouTube and a bunch of other places, where there's plenty of, this one here is a different video that's clearly showing four-wheel steering. The one that I saw recently was actually showing it going forward and doing a lot of turns, I think in the same factory area.
Yeah, but you can see definitely the rear steering is in action.
Yep.
So the Cybertruck has been kind of hot and cold for several years.
Well, they recently pushed it back again, right?
Yeah, so I mean, they had the earnings call, right, with Tesla and of course Elon Musk over there, and he said, well, mass production of the Cybertruck will be in 2024, and that kind of started ringing a lot of bells because they were promising it this year. So maybe a limited number will be built this year,
Maybe,
right?
yeah.
And there's estimates of people saying up to 10,000 of these this year. But I kind of doubt it. I mean, they're still building out their factory,
Right.
with those huge stamps to stamp, the body panels on this
Right,
truck.
because it's a little different with stainless.
Yeah, so they're using a hard metal for this.
Right. Okay. Well, so once again, we're in a holding pattern.
It's
with
a
the
little
Cybertruck.
closer to production, but how close is it?
Remind me again. When was it initially supposed to come out?
21.
Okay.
Well, of course, COVID changed a lot of it. But a lot of analysts, when they first showed it, when Roman was there in 2019, right? They said, well, that's nice, but which factory are you going to build it at, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of analysts were talking about this, and now finally it's going to be built in Texas, but they had to build the factory first,
Right.
then equip the factory.
And then they had to federalize this thing, make it legal.
Yeah, which is where the mirrors and the wipers and everything else comes from.
That is correct. Okay, so essentially we're still in a holding pattern with that. But guys, if you're interested in a used Tesla, now might be the time.
Yep, there you have it. Thanks for joining us. Once again, alltfl.com is where you'll find everything automotive in one place.
That's right, guys.